Hello, hello. Looks like things are working. This is my very first YouTube live stream. So thanks for being here and watching it. The reason I am live streaming right now is because I have a new book coming out. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Ryan Claytor. I'm a comics artist and a university professor, and I'm about to come out with a big, beautiful, oversized hardcover art book featuring 20 years of my work in comics, illustration, and design. It's called One Bite at a Time, and you can find it at onebiteatatimebook.com. So I hope you'll head over there. I've got a Kickstarter starting for the book on November 1st, just starting to get the word out right now. I've been working on this for about 5 years now, getting this book together. It's over 250 pages and lots of bells and whistles too. So fancy. So basically, I'm very excited about the fact that the content is really interesting and the formatting is really interesting. So I'd like to talk about both of those. So maybe I can share my screen with you to start. And if you go to onebiteatatimebook.com, it should take you right here to the pre-launch page on Kickstarter. So this is where you can click the notify me on launch button. And once you do that, Kickstarter is going to let you know, hey, it's November 1st. Now's the time to come back this project that you are so excited about. But I'd like to take this opportunity to take you behind the scenes and show you what this campaign is going to look like. So come November 1st, this is what you're going to see. There is a project video and a project story that you can make your way through. But essentially, I wanted to take you through some of this story page to give you a little sneak peek of what's to come. So under the purpose, it says, from a young age, when I was watching Mr. Rogers' factory visits, I've always enjoyed understanding process and seeing how people do what they do. This book, in addition to outlining my 20-year growth as an artist, is an outgrowth of my interest in sharing artistic process and demystifying making. So now, after 20 years of working as an artist and a university educator, I've incorporated that curiosity into my life's work, where I've been able to share methods of creating art and comics with thousands of students. So let's move on to the book itself. So you've seen this image. Essentially, the project you're helping to bring to life is a hardcover art book with oversized formatting. It's going to be 9 by 12 inches and over 250 pages long, with a production heavy attention to book design. So I'm not sure if you can see this from the mock-up image here, but I tried to zoom in a little bit here so you can see a little better that this is actually a dual cloth binding. So this is not paper covered hardcover book. This is actual cloth and two different colors here. And it also has a dual foil stamped image on not only the cover, but also the spine and back cover as well. It also has copper gilded page edges to match the copper foiling on the covers, as well as a built-in ribbon bookmark, which you can't see here, but it's going to match that teal spine cloth. And I haven't even gotten into the interiors yet, which also have a ton of interesting formatting as well. So if you keep scrolling down the page, you'll see some example spreads of what you're going to find inside the book. Basically, there is a wide variety of artwork that you can see, and I'd like to zoom into a couple of these for you right now. So let's see here. If I can share this screen, I think this will work now. Perhaps, yes, maybe. Not certain about that. So many screens to juggle. Okay, this is one, this is two. I would like to share. Oh gosh, this screen over here is what I want. Let's make it happen. We're gonna do this together. All right. Um, Now, why can I not share that? This is what I want to share. Let's share those pages nice and big. Here we go. So suspenseful. Sharing that. Yes, let's embiggenate this. Okay, this is what we're looking for. So this is one of the many spreads from this 250-page tome of a book, and this is featuring my business cards. So basically on each spread of this book, you're going to see a feature image and then a lot of supporting images, a lot of behind the scenes work that went into creating the final piece. So for this, you'll see there's some didactic information with which each image will have, as well as some inspiration, some preliminary sketches, the sketches for the business card itself. Then you see the inks. So the inks are reprinted in the book at actual size. So these are high resolution scans of the inks themselves. They're basically the closest thing you can get to holding my original artwork without actually owning it. And then that leads to the teal colored first printing of the business cards, but then I eventually changed it to a brown color to better suit my branding for Elephant Eater Comics. You'll also see some additional information about each one of the behind the scenes images right here. So it lists out the size, when it was created, what materials were used, etc., sort of like a gallery. But like I said, there's a lot of different works in here from my works in comics. This is a comic that I produced last year called A Hunter's Tale. This was originally a poem written by my grandfather over 40 years ago at this point. It's a poem about empathy. And here you see the poem itself on this single sheet of paper, accompanied with the comic book that I illustrated last year. And once again, you have some process, some behind the scenes information over to the left of the feature image. So more didactic text talking about how this came about. And then you can see the number of different thumbnail images that I went through in order to sort of come to uh, an approximation of what I wanted the cover to look like. And I'm not sure many people know about this, but I actually produced two covers for this book. I used only one, but I took two covers to complete fruition to see which one I wanted to use. This was a very important work to me and my family, so I wanted to make sure that I got this right. So I ended up using this cover, which you can see the final pencils and the inks for, but you can also see the pencils and the final image for the alternate unused cover, which eventually was printed as a limited edition print to go along with the Kickstarter campaign. So there's work in comics, of course. I'm a cartoonist, but if you flip through here, you'll also see there are a number of different illustration jobs that I've done, from hired work for other people to custom work of my own, which you see here in this Elephant Eater Comics logo. Once again, lots of process information on the left-hand side here. And not only do I have work in comics and illustration, but also design, ranging from neon sign design. This is a Cthulhu themed neon sign that my buddy Andrew Moreau had me design for him. This hangs in his house, which he has affectionately renamed House Yahantale, based on the Cthulhu mythology. And in this one, you can see how I work with clients by giving them a number of illustrated sketches first. And then the client will typically choose one of these. In this case, Andy chose elements of both of these. So you see this little bracket leading to the color options. And then once a color option was chosen, that leads to the final image that you see on the right here. And then the image over here shows the sign hanging in its proper home in Andy's basement. So there's a bunch of different neon work that I've produced, in addition to my design work on watches. I've produced number of different watches for Mr. Jones Watches of London, England. And not only do you see the showcase image on the right here, but again, lots and lots of process images here, in addition to some more information illuminating how this piece came about. It started with this really, really rough concept that I did not even send to Mr. Jones Watches. This was just for me to kind of figure out where things might fit, but it was such a mess that I refined that sketch a little bit before sending it off. And then eventually that led to my collaboration with Mr. Jones Watches. And you see these 5 different illustrated discs here. So there is a glass disc where all the figures and the stage is printed. And then you have an hours disc, a minutes disc, and then finally the back dial print, which you see the curtains on there. Now, if you were counting, that's only 4 prints, and I said there were 5. Well, if you look over here, you can see in this process image that there were actually 5 discs proposed first. So the characters and that front counter were going to be the glass print, and then on a separate print inside to give it a little more depth, we were originally thinking that we would have that stage and the teddy bears and the curtains printed on a separate disc to give it a little more depth of field within the watch itself. Eventually, we prototyped that out because it just did not add enough um, bang for your buck. Essentially, it was going to cost a lot more money for just a little bit of return on what that might look like. So we decided to merge those 2 discs so you get some behind the scenes information like that as well. You can also see photographic reference that I use to get the foreshortened angles of the person's limbs and that sort of thing. In addition to watches and neon designs and fancy pancakes and stitching and so much more, I also take you way back in time to some of my graduate school projects. This was a multimedia game project that I did um, back in the early aughts, maybe mid aughts. I'm dating myself a little too far. Mid aughts, this was created, and you can see this run cycle of the me character that was used in the game. So I would run through the town with my little comic book in hand, and you can see the repeating background on the bottom of the page here. A number of different characters that you would encounter in the town who would say various mildly disparaging things about comics, and you could pick whether you wanted to educate or passively agree with them, and you would be rewarded or penalized based on your choice. So this was designed back in Macromedia Fireworks, if you can remember back that far, and originally existed on a computer that looked like this. So those are just a few of the things that you'll see in this book. I am so excited to share this with people. I've been working on this for, like I said, probably about 5 years now. It was back in 2019 where I co-wrote a book called Coin Op Carnival with my best bud Nick Baldridge, and we put this book out together and toured it over the course of 2019. And it wasn't until the end of that year when I finally realized, oh my gosh, this is my 15th anniversary of making comics, and I haven't done anything to make any noise about it. So it was at that time where I told myself, all right, I'm gonna think of a great project to do for my 20th anniversary. And so since that time, I've been working on this art book. It's also gonna have a bunch of really interesting formatting inside the book as well that I haven't even shown you yet, like gatefold pages and vellum overlays and die cut reveals and more. So I hope you'll stay tuned. Come to onebiteatatimebook.com, sign up for that notify me on launch button so that you are reminded on November 1st when this project goes live. With your help, we will see this project through to fruition, and I cannot wait to share this book with over-the-top production values and a ton of interesting information about how to create images therein. So thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. Can't wait to see you at onebiteatatimebook.com.